I'm sharing a brain oxygen use graph during a LiveO2 workout. And I'm going to ask you to comment on this because we've got a presentation. But basically, at time zero, and again, this would be your experience. At time zero, we got a baseline. Okay. And this goes through a series of oxygen reduced exertions or sprints and then recovery cycles. The recoveries are about 15 seconds, just like you mentioned. But if you'll notice, the important point about the graph is you start out at a baseline, which is the normal amount of energy / oxygen the brain is using and creating energy. By the time you finish, in this example, there's a 29% increase in the brain energy production, which happens to be true. Yes, we're just measuring the brain, but this energy production capacity is body-wide. Okay, given your point, I've said this and people look and they listen to us. It's like, you guys are nuts. There's no way you can do this until you measure it. So, given your near decade of experience, is this graph consistent with your experience with the product?
It is. And I'll say this. So that's just my personal experience. I've also spent 10 plus years researching oxygen. So, I'm not the medical doctor. I can out-argue most of them when it comes to oxygen. I've studied Manfred von Erden's multi-step oxygen therapy. I know you've also looked at his research. So I've studied the CTE work here in town that's going in Boston with the head trauma work. And at the end of the day, the fastest way to damage a brain cell is to deny it oxygen. I argue that the fastest way to repair it is to give it more. And when you look at oxygen impact on the brain, it's absolutely proven beyond any shadow of a doubt that when you increase the oxygen, it increases brain health. And if this is my whole thing, being in hyperbaric is helpful. However, you're not doing anything. So if I can have the same benefit, but I can be exercising and I do adaptive contrast, then the brain energy and the amount of oxygen your brain has goes up dramatically. And it's noticeable both from your own personal experience and I believe all the science outside of what you're doing, all other science backs it up and agrees with what you're saying.